You don't see the danger, not right away. Because it doesn't look like danger, it looks like a clean glass on your kitchen table. Something cool, something comforting. Maybe it's orange juice with extra calcium. Maybe it's oat milk poured over cereal. Or maybe it's that bottle with the word hydration printed in big proud letters. You reach for it every day because someone, somewhere, once told you it was good for you. You believed them. Of course you did. Why wouldn't you? You've done your part. You've made the swaps, cut out the soda, avoided the things with too much sugar, and in its place you've chosen what felt smarter, what looked healthier. You're not careless. You're trying. But even with all that effort, something's still not right. You feel it in your knees when you stand, in your back when you bend, that strange brittleness, that quiet stiffness, that sense that something isn't as strong as it used to be. You chalk it up to age. You tell yourself this is just how the body works now, but a whisper keeps following you, doesn't it? A subtle feeling that something else is going on, something no one has told you yet. And you're right, because what they never explained is this. Not every healthy drink is safe for your bones. Some are doing the exact opposite of what you hoped. Some are quietly stealing the very minerals your bones depend on, day after day, sip after sip. And the worst part? It's often the ones that look the cleanest, the ones in slim bottles with soft colors and wellness words. They come with promises, backed by commercials, supported by experts with smiles on their faces. But your bones don't care about branding. They care about what's actually inside. And when those drinks are loaded with acids, sugars, synthetic additives, or calcium blockers disguised as nutrients, your bones react. Not with a scream, but with a slow collapse. It's the kind of erosion that takes years, the kind that waits until your balance gives out, your wrist fractures, or your spine compresses. That's when you realize what's been happening all along. But you don't have to wait for that moment. You don't have to keep guessing, because once you see what's really in that glass, once you understand how your body responds, you can begin to change the outcome. Not by giving up everything, not by becoming afraid of food, but by choosing differently. By drinking in a way that supports the strong, resilient frame beneath your skin. And it starts here with a simple question. Not, is it healthy? But, is it healthy for me now? It's hard to blame yourself when the label said all the right things. Low fat, fortified, heart healthy, plant-based, organic. Buzzwords meant to comfort you, crafted not just to inform, but to persuade. You glance at the bottle, and the message is clear. It belongs in your cart, in your fridge, in your body. But what you're not told is how those words work like a veil, blurring what's really going on underneath. Because health isn't found in the branding, it's found in the reaction your body has after the sip, after the swallow, after weeks and months of believing you were doing something right. It's not your fault that the truth was buried. No one talks about how fortified can mean calcium thrown into a drink with no guidance on how your body will actually absorb it. They don't say that some plant-based milks are so processed they contain oils and gums that trigger low-grade inflammation. Or that many low-sugar drinks sneak in artificial sweeteners that confuse your system, weaken gut health, and throw your hormones off balance. And when your hormones shift, your bones feel it. Quietly, steadily, like a tide wearing down the edge of a rock. You feel betrayed. Not in a dramatic way, but in that subtle, sinking feeling that you did what they told you, and somehow you're still paying for it. And the labels don't help, because they were never meant to protect you. They were designed to sell to you. And when you're over 60, navigating bone loss, energy dips, and chronic aches, you need more than promises. You need protection. You need the truth behind the words, because your body has changed. And it's not about what's trending in health, it's about what your bones can tolerate, absorb, and thrive on. You start to look differently now. Not at the front of the label, but at the fine print. You start asking questions. Not just what's in it, but what it's doing to you. And when you do that, the fog begins to lift. You see through the slogans, you begin to reclaim your choices. You stop asking, is this healthy? And start asking, is this harming me in disguise? You were told calcium was the key, that if you got enough of it, through milk, supplements, or fortified drinks, your bones would stay strong, sturdy, unbreakable, and you listened. You made sure it was there on the label, thinking more was always better. But what they didn't tell you was that calcium is only one part of the story, and without the right support, it's like pouring concrete without a mold. It doesn't hold, it doesn't bond, it doesn't build what you think it's building, because calcium doesn't work alone. It needs magnesium, it needs vitamin D, it needs vitamin K2 to guide it into the bones and not into your arteries. And it needs a body environment that's ready to receive it, not one inflamed, acidic, or overloaded with things that block its path. You see, many of the drinks that boast extra calcium also carry the very ingredients that make it harder for your body to use it. Excess sugars, phosphates, preservatives, they interfere with the balance, throwing off the mineral harmony your bones depend on. So while you're sipping, thinking you're adding strength, your body might be quietly struggling to use what you've given it. And the saddest part, the signs of this disconnect don't show up right away. You won't feel a warning, you won't get a signal, until one day you notice you're shrinking slightly, or your posture feels less certain, or a simple stumble turns into something more serious, and you look back wondering how it could have happened when you thought you were doing everything right. But now you know better. You understand that it's not about how much calcium you consume, it's about what your body can do with it. And suddenly, you stop chasing numbers and start seeking synergy. You look for the full picture. You nourish the system, not just the symptom. And with that shift, your bones begin to receive what they've been needing all along. Not just calcium, but the conditions to thrive. It doesn't taste acidic, that's the trick. It tastes clean, sometimes even sweet, like a citrus splash in the morning or a tangy refresher in the afternoon. You drink it thinking it's light, healthy, energizing, but inside the effect is different, because long after the flavor fades, the chemistry lingers, and your body, especially your bones, is left to deal with what that drink truly is: acidic. Quietly, consistently, corrosively acidic. You don't think of acid when you drink that glass of sparkling water flavored with fruit essence, or that lemon water routine you were told would boost metabolism, or even that seemingly innocent green tea latte from your favorite cafe, but all of them can shift your body's pH in a direction your bones resent, because when your internal environment tilts toward acid through diet, stress, or even certain health drinks, your body tries to balance it, and one of its favorite tools for buffering acid, calcium. And where does it pull that calcium from? Your bones. It's not dramatic. It's not something you notice right away, but over time, this internal tug-of-war plays out. Your bones sacrifice their strength to keep your blood stable. They release what little density they have to neutralize what your drink quietly stirred up. And slowly, day by day, you feel more fragile without knowing why. You did everything they said. You avoided soda, cut out sugar, drank your teas and tonics. But you didn't realize that acid doesn't always come with fizz or bite. Sometimes it wears a healthy mask. And once you see that, you can begin to shift. You learn that balance isn't about eliminating every acidic food, but about supporting your body with minerals, hydration, and the right ratios. You stop chasing fads and start respecting your body's wisdom. You give your bones not just what they need, but what won't drain them. And that's when the rebuilding begins. Not just of your strength, but of your trust in yourself again. They don't kick in the door. They slip in quietly, dressed in labels like 0 calorie, plant-powered, or doctor recommended. You welcome them in without question, thinking they're allies. But some of the biggest bone thieves come in soft voices, gentle packaging, and clinical claims. You find them in your favorite diet drinks, your trusted protein shakes, even in the almond milk you swapped in to feel healthier. But behind those good intentions lie ingredients with a different agenda. Phosphoric acid. Have you seen that one? It's tucked inside sodas, yes, but also in sports drinks and flavored waters. It's used to preserve shelf life, enhance tang, balance sweetness. But in your body, it throws off calcium regulation, pulling it away from where it's needed most. And then there are artificial sweeteners. Those little chemical promises of sweetness without consequence. Sucralose, aspartame, acesulfame potassium. They don't spike your sugar, no, but they disturb your gut, confuse your insulin response, and set off low-level inflammation, each one a nudge against your skeletal stability. Even some plant-based milks, the ones that made you feel good about leaving dairy behind, are filled with gums, stabilizers, and emulsifiers that your digestive system doesn't always handle well. That bloating, that fatigue, it's your body waving a flag, telling you something's off. And when digestion falters, nutrient absorption suffers. Calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, all of it gets compromised, and your bones feel the loss before you ever do. You never meant to invite these thieves in. You thought you were making better choices. But now you see more clearly. You start reading not just the front of the label, but the fine print. You learn to recognize the quiet intruders. You guard the door, not with fear, but with knowledge. Because once you know who's stealing from your bones, you can begin to rebuild what they've taken, one drink at a time. You've heard it for years: hydration is health. Keep sipping, stay lubricated, flush the toxins out. And that's true mostly. Water is life. Your cells, your joints, your bones all depend on it. But somewhere along the way, hydration became a market. Bottled claims, enhanced waters, electrolyte-packed formulas, and not all of them do what they promise. Some, in fact, do the opposite. Some don't hydrate you. They stress you, dehydrate you, undermine you, and your bones, already doing so much in silence, begin to suffer the consequences. You reach for a sports drink after your walk. Something light, refreshing, with a splash of citrus and a sprinkle of salt. It seems like a smart choice, but it's loaded with sodium and artificial additives that force your kidneys to work harder. You drink more but absorb less. You feel bloated, tired, a little more off balance than usual, and inside, that mineral imbalance slowly chips away at your foundation. Bones don't like extremes. They don't like overcorrection. And when a drink sends the wrong signals, your body reacts in ways that feel invisible until they're not. Even some clean-flavored waters or electrolyte powders contain high levels of citric acid, sweeteners, or even caffeine, elements that trigger mild stress responses in your system. And when your system is stressed, even subtly, it leaches minerals from your bones to compensate. That tall, sleek bottle might feel like progress, but your body is begging for something simpler, something real, something it can use without conflict. Hydration isn't just about pouring liquids in. It's about what your cells can actually hold. It's about balance, electrolytes from real food, broths rich with minerals, clean filtered water taken slowly throughout the day. You don't need fancy, you need function. And when you make that shift, your bones feel it, your joints feel it, you feel it in the steadiness of your step, the calm in your energy, the quiet resilience returning to your frame. You think of your bones as quiet, stoic, structural, but they're not just scaffolding, they're alive. They listen to your habits, your hormones, your meals, and your moods. They adapt to what you give them and to what you take away. And for years, they've been adjusting, shifting, compensating, trying to hold you up even when your choices made it harder. They haven't blamed you, they've been trying to help. But lately, you felt them speak up. You notice it when you rise from a chair and feel a tight pull in your hips, when the stairs take more effort than they used to, when reaching for something above your head comes with a whisper of warning down your spine. You chalk it up to aging, and yes, time changes everything, but there's a difference between aging and erosion, and what you're feeling isn't just age, it's depletion. It's the body responding to years of good intentions that may not have had the support they needed. Your bones are not just passive, they're communicators. They register inflammation. They monitor your calcium levels. They sense when the scale tips too far in the wrong direction. And when it does, they respond, not with noise, but with signals. A fracture from a simple fall, a shrinking feeling in your posture, that strange sense that your core doesn't feel as centered as it once did. That's your skeleton calling out, not to shame you, but to wake you, to invite you back into a partnership you may not have known was broken. And here's the grace of it. Bones can rebuild. They may be slow, but they're forgiving. Given the right care, the right nutrients, the right calm, they respond. You're not too late. You're not beyond help. You're simply at a turning point. And your bones, so often ignored, are standing by, listening still, waiting for the nourishment they've been missing. It's more than a drink. It's a ritual. The the warmth in your hands, the aroma that stirs your senses, the gentle buzz that greets your morning fog. Coffee isn't just a beverage, it's a comfort, a pause, a permission to begin again. And it's not the villain, not entirely. In moderation, with balance, coffee has its place. But for aging bones, already balancing hormones, nutrient absorption, and inflammation, coffee can quietly complicate the equation. It begins with caffeine, a stimulant that does more than wake you up. It signals your body to release adrenaline, to move into alert mode. It also triggers mild calcium loss, especially when consumed in high doses without mineral-rich foods nearby. Over time, caffeine can interfere with how your kidneys manage calcium. You might still be getting enough in your diet, but your body struggles to hold on to it. And the loss, though small in each cup, adds up. Then there's the acidity. Black coffee on an empty stomach may feel energizing, but it also pushes your internal environment toward acid. And as you've already learned, when your blood leans acidic, your bones provide the buffer. Calcium leaves your frame to restore the balance, not loudly, not obviously, but quietly, persistently. And if your coffee is sweetened, flavored, or layered with syrups and creamers marketed as non-dairy, that adds a new set of problems. Sugars, gums, synthetic oils that tax digestion and inflame tissues further. Still, you don't need to give it up. You need to approach it differently. Pair it with a mineral-rich breakfast. Limit it to 1 thoughtful cup, not 3 rushed ones. Choose organic beans, brewed gently. Drink more water throughout the day to restore hydration. Coffee isn't your enemy. It's just not neutral. And when your bones are trying to rebuild, neutrality matters. Every choice adds up. And your morning ritual can stay, just in a form that honors the strength you're trying to reclaim. It sounds wholesome, doesn't it? Juice. The word itself feels pure, natural, simple. You imagine oranges plucked from trees, apples crushed fresh from the orchard, berries bursting with antioxidants. And you pour it into your glass, thinking you're doing your body a favor. After all, it's fruit. It must be good. But what you're drinking is more concentrated than you realize. More sugar, less fiber, and often more harm than help, especially for aging bones already struggling to hold their ground. When you eat a whole fruit, you get more than just sweetness. You get fiber to slow the sugar's release, minerals to support digestion, and enzymes that help the body absorb nutrients properly. But juice strips much of that away. What's left is a fast flood of fructose, natural, yes, but still taxing. It spikes insulin, it creates a cascade of inflammation. And inflammation is a slow, consistent enemy of your bones. It weakens the structure from within, making it harder for new bone to form and old bone to maintain its strength. Then there's the acidity again. Citrus juices, even when diluted, introduce a level of acid that your body must respond to. And we know how the body buffers acid by pulling minerals from the bones. Add to that the pasteurization process, which reduces vitamin content, and you're left with a drink that looks vibrant but delivers far less nourishment than it promises. And still, the labels tell you it's healthy, high in vitamin C, all natural, no added sugar. But nature intended fruit to be eaten, not extracted and concentrated into a bottle. You start to see juice differently now. Not as a daily staple, but as a rare treat. Something you enjoy in small amounts, perhaps mixed with water, perhaps replaced altogether by an herbal infusion that supports instead of depletes. Because the goal isn't to give up flavor, it's to give your bones what they're truly asking for. And once you step out of the juice trap, you find other paths, cleaner, gentler, and far more aligned with the strength you're trying to keep. For decades, milk was the symbol of strong bones. Commercials told you so. Doctors echoed the message. A glass of milk at dinner meant you were doing the right thing. And for many, that belief never left. You may have grown up with it, trusted it. But now, as your body changes, that old promise deserves a second look. Because not all milk is created equal. And not all of it is helping you in the way you think. You may still be reaching for milk out of habit, or maybe you've switched to plant-based options hoping for something gentler. Either way, the same questions apply. What's really in this drink, and how is it treating your bones? Conventional cow's milk today is not what it once was. It can be filled with hormones, antibiotics, and excess proteins that create inflammation in some bodies, especially bodies that are older, more sensitive, and already navigating chronic issues. That inflammation doesn't just make you tired, it makes your bones more fragile, because when inflammation rises, bone building slows down, repair stalls, weakness creeps in, and those plant-based alternatives, some are better than others, but many are ultra-processed, full of additives designed to mimic creaminess. Carrageenan, sunflower lecithin, added sugars, and synthetic vitamins don't always sit well in the gut. And if your digestion is compromised, your bones don't get the minerals they need. Absorption is everything. A drink may be high in calcium on paper, but if your body can't use it, it's not helping. This isn't about fear, it's about fit. Your body today is not your body at 30. It needs a different kind of care. Maybe that looks like raw milk from a trusted source. Maybe it's an unsweetened almond milk fortified with clean minerals and no gums. Maybe it's bone broth rich with collagen and magnesium, offering more real support than anything in a carton. The point is, your bones deserve better than tradition. They deserve truth. And when you step out of the myth and into a more thoughtful choice, your body begins to feel it, not overnight but steadily, safely, quietly returning to strength. It feels like the healthiest thing you could do. A blender full of fruits, greens, nut milk, maybe a scoop of protein powder. You drink it in the morning and feel proud, like you've given your body a burst of life. And yes, there are good things in that glass, nutrients, antioxidants, color. But there's another side to smoothies, especially when they become a daily ritual, a side that your bones might be quietly struggling with. It starts with the volume. Packing 5 different fruits into one drink sounds powerful, but it also means you're flooding your system with natural sugars, without the fiber and chewing that help slow things down. Even healthy sugars, when concentrated, can spike insulin and trigger inflammation. And as you've seen, inflammation wears down bone building over time. That vibrant, cold drink may feel clean, but your bones may be receiving it as a stressor. Then there are the greens. Spinach, Swiss chard, beet greens, all loaded with oxalates, naturally occurring compounds that can bind to calcium and make it harder for your body to absorb. So while you think you're fueling your bones, your smoothie may be reducing their access to key minerals. You're adding calcium to your drink, but it's being locked away, passed through, unused. And if you're using nut butters, flax seeds, or trendy protein powders, you may also be introducing added emulsifiers, sweeteners, and heavy metals, further complicating the body's ability to benefit from what you've prepared. This isn't about abandoning smoothies entirely. It's about making them smarter, rotating your greens, adding minerals like magnesium or collagen instead of just fruit, using water or coconut water instead of sweetened milks, chewing your food when you can instead of blending every breakfast into a liquid. Because bones need more than nutrients, they need the rhythm of real digestion, the support of slow absorption, the balance of simplicity. Your smoothie might be beautiful, but your bones are asking for function, not flash. And when you start building your blends with them in mind, everything shifts from the inside out. You may not drink them often, maybe just on the days when energy is low, when sleep didn't restore you, when the afternoon fog feels heavier than usual. They're sold as a quick fix, a boost, a spark. But energy drinks, whether traditional cans or newer, clean versions with added herbs and vitamins, often come with a hidden cost, especially for your bones, which depend not just on nutrients, but on hormonal balance, mineral calm, and nervous system stability. Caffeine is the headline ingredient, but it's not the only one doing damage. Taurine, guarana, ginseng, synthetic B vitamins, these are all engineered to stimulate. And in small doses, they might feel helpful. But your body doesn't just process stimulation, it compensates for it. It releases stress hormones like cortisol, increasing inflammation and nudging calcium out of your bones. Over time, this stress chemistry creates an environment where bone breakdown outpaces bone repair. And that quiet imbalance leads to weakness you don't feel until it's too late. Then there's the acidity. These drinks are often carbonated, flavored with citric or phosphoric acid, and loaded with sweeteners or sugar alcohols that tax your gut and kidneys. Your kidneys are essential in regulating calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, all critical for bone density. When those systems are overstressed, your bones are the first to suffer, silently. Even so-called natural energy drinks with green tea extract or nootropics aren't immune. They still spike your system. They still trigger a reaction that asks your body to fight, to adapt, to pull resources from places already depleted. And when you're over 60, every resource counts. You don't need to chase energy, you need to support it. Steady blood sugar, deep hydration, adrenal nourishing foods like sea salt, greens, and slow-brewed herbal teas. These build real, sustainable strength without the crash, without the extraction. Your bones don't want fireworks, they want foundation. And that begins when you stop drinking energy and start building it slowly, honestly from within. It hides in the background. You may not feel the heat of it, the fire most people imagine when they hear the word inflammation. Instead, it's a slow simmer, a fatigue that lingers, a stiffness in the morning, a feeling that your body isn't recovering like it used to, and you live with it because you think it's normal, part of aging. But it's not just age, it's a signal. And that low, constant inflammation becomes the quiet architect of bone loss, weaving itself into every part of your health story. Your bones are not separate from the rest of you. They respond to the same forces your heart, brain, and immune system do. And when inflammation rises, even gently, your bone-building cells slow down. Your breakdown cells speed up. It's a loop that feeds itself. The more inflammation, the weaker your bones. The weaker your bones, the more your body struggles to stay aligned, balanced, pain-free. And drinks that claim to be healthy can be part of the problem. Too much sugar, even from fruit concentrates. Artificial sweeteners that disrupt gut bacteria. Preservatives, emulsifiers, gums, and colorants, all of them tiny irritants that your body has to manage. Over time, that management wears you down. And the worst part? You may not even notice until the signs are too obvious to ignore. Bone scans showing decline, a cracked rib from a simple twist, the growing fear of falling. But here's what no one tells you. Inflammation is not a life sentence. It's reversible, calming, clearable. When you remove the sources that keep triggering your system, the body begins to shift. You start drinking differently. You give your bones a break from the burden, from the background fight. You choose herbal teas that soothe, mineral broths that replenish, clean water that hydrates on a cellular level. And slowly, the loop begins to break. Your joints ache less. Your mornings feel softer. Your body starts building again, not from fear, but from ease. And in that ease, strength returns. This is where things begin to turn. Not through fear, not through giving up everything you love, but through awareness, through intention, through the small, quiet decision to choose differently, to drink differently, to support your bones not with guesswork, but with wisdom. Because once you know what's harming you, you're free to reach for what heals. You don't need to overhaul your life in a single day. You need to tune in. Start with your water, clean, filtered, sipped steadily throughout the day. Not chugged, not flavored, just pure and steady. Then consider what you can add, not just what you remove. Mineral broths made from vegetables, herbs, or slow-cooked bones. They don't just hydrate, they restore. Filled with magnesium, potassium, collagen, and trace minerals that your bones crave, they're like a balm for your entire system. Herbal teas too, nettles, horsetail, oat straw, chamomile. These aren't trendy, they're ancient, time-tested allies for calming inflammation, easing digestion, and gently delivering nutrients. No sugar, no acid, no tricks, just support. And for those who still crave something creamy, there are ways. A homemade almond milk with no additives, a coconut milk warmed with turmeric and cinnamon, drinks that soothe instead of stir. You begin to notice what your body responds to. Less bloating, less joint pain, a steadier energy through the day. You realize that hydration isn't about what's in fashion. It's about what your body can recognize and receive. And when your bones stop having to fight with every sip, they start doing what they were made to do. Hold you up, keep you moving, protect your center. The shift doesn't scream. It settles, It's a gentle unfolding, a return to clarity, and in that return you begin to trust again, not just the drinks in your hand, but the messages in your body. You stop bracing for bad news. You start building something better, quietly, every single day. It doesn't happen all at once. The body doesn't send a parade when healing begins. There's no sudden thunderclap or dramatic shift. Instead, it's quiet, gentle, a breath that feels deeper than before, a morning where your joints move without protest, a walk that feels more like freedom than fear. That's how strength returns, not with noise, but with calm. You've been through the confusion, the mixed messages, the labels that promised help but delivered harm. You've tried, you've adjusted, you've listened to advice that didn't serve you, and you paid the price. But you're still here, still standing, still asking the right questions. And that matters more than anything, because the moment you turn toward clarity, everything changes. The moment you stop drinking what weakens you and start drinking what builds you, your body begins the long, faithful work of repair. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being present, about looking into your glass each morning and asking not just, does this taste good, but does this serve the frame I live in? It's about choosing with care, not fear. It's about understanding that your bones are not static, they are responsive, they are listening, they are waiting, and when you give them what they need, they don't just stop breaking down, they begin to rebuild. The world will keep offering you shortcuts, drinks with shiny labels, promises wrapped in sweetness, but you know now how to see through them. You've learned to read beneath the surface, to trust your body over the bottle. And in that trust, you return, not just to health, but to power. Quiet, grounded power, the kind that holds your spine tall, the kind that steadies your hands, the kind that whispers, you're safe, you're strong, you're home. And that is how it begins again.